topic for today. Is it better to live in delusion or reality? That was a topic.
That was a topic.
Okay. I believe personally it's better to live in reality because like who wants to live in delusion? But I can understand an argument for making and living in delusion because like sometimes life is so rough, so hard. It's just like let me just live in the delusion that I do have and the little that I do have, instead of trying to tackle the real world problems.
Delusion is like a getaway.
Essentially, yeah. Kind of like how men and women alike go into books, video games, just fantasy stuff to get away from their day to day. My thought process is maybe the delusion is that person's way of doing the same thing. Now, I want to preface it and say I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't live a delusion,
I'm just
Brody?
simply saying, no. I'm just saying I could see an argument for it. I think it's idiotic, though, to live in delusion. You should live in reality. Like, that's where world things happen. That's where the world takes place. We take place in reality. Everything that happens in reality usually is factual. So, in my personal opinion, it's better to live like that. However, I can understand someone choosing to live in the delusion.
Yeah, it's hard for me to disagree because I do agree with you. I do think it is better to live in reality. You know, this is the world we live in, and you got to understand too. Like, you can't really just hide from your problems. You can't just run away. Like, this is what, and if you do live in reality, I feel like you can actually attack your problems, whatever that is. If you are delusional or live in delusion, then you're not really going to be prepared in order to take on what's actually happening in the real world. Because you're in your own world that you done already made up. You're in your own fantasy world. You done fucked around and either engulfed yourself too deep in like video games or just other distractions. And you're going to negate what's actually important, which is what's happening in reality. Now, I agree with you. Kind of like the saying goes, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Sometimes just living in a delusional world or not accepting all the facts or gathering all the facts, you kind of happier to a certain extent.
I have a good example of this. When I was young, coming up as a young man, I was taught and raised to respect women, and I still think you should respect women. Okay, I ain't going out here saying you just disrespect ladies. However, what I wasn't told was women aren't this special creature that needs to be protecting all the time. That is sweet and nice and everything nice, or was it sugar and spice and everything nice? I think that's how the saying goes. And I could have continued down that road of living in the delusion of women are these perfect creatures. They do no wrong. They're perfect. It's only us guys who are doing wrong.
Exactly.
But then I kind of woke up to it, and I was like, "Yeah, that's not the case.
This
it's
isn't
also
real
not
life.
that's not the experience that I've kind of come to bears with."
Yeah.
Now I could choose and live in the delusion, but that would still be to my detriment as a man. I believe us as men, for us to live in delusion, we actually have a harsher consequence than women do, which is kind of why there are more women who kind of live in delusion than men. It's like life treats us more harshly if you live in delusion. If I live in delusion as a man, and I decided to continue on with those thought processes that I had as a kid, I could set myself up to possibly get married to a woman who's not good for me, who ends up divorcing me and taking all my stuff.
Exactly.
You know, getting with women who aren't good for you.
And because you do live in delusion, but when people do live in delusion, I feel like you don't see everything clearly.
Nah, you have
You'll kind of have those like rose-tinted
glasses. Yeah.
Glasses, exactly. Yep. In terms of like you were saying with a woman, you'll get with her. You're already living in delusion, so that means no matter what she does, you're damn near making an excuse.
Perfect.
On why exactly.
Yes.
And also, inadvertently, kind of like you were saying, affects a man. I think it kind of affects your confidence.
Yep.
Because if things are going on around you that are bad, don't get me wrong, there are certain things that you as a man need to take responsibility for. But I think we all can agree that there are things that like other people fuck up with.
True. Yeah.
And because you're kind of living in that delusion, or because you are delusional, essentially, I think that could kind of mess with your confidence. That kind of mess with how you think, how you view the world.
Yeah, it works your confidence.
Yeah.
And even for ladies, the flip side, for the guys, it shrinks his confidence. For some ladies, it gives them this huge ego, which is just like, you ain't even all that. Like, relax, you know? And then for a guy who might be well put together because he's living in delusion, he might be so broken down. He's just like, he has no...
The amount of videos I've seen of females saying, like, I deserve diamonds, I deserve this, I saw a video today, and there was this woman talking, and she said that she will not sleep with a man unless he provides for her financially. And she was going on basically saying like he has to buy her diamonds. Like if she wakes up sad and all this other stuff, like she looks at like essentially a wristwatch that a man brought her, or she looks at like a
material
purse that a man, all fucking material, bro. And I think that's, bro. I'm like the fact that exactly.
I've come across.
But at the same
like
time, ignorance is bliss, because you got to also think.
Yeah.
She probably feels great. She's like, I deserve diamonds. I deserve this, and on top of that, she's dealing with men who are buying
exactly.
stuff.
They'll
so
do it.
Feeding that ego. They're feeding that delusion. It's like, bro, like,
and that's a reality because it's actually happening.
Exactly.
So she's like, yo, these guys are actually purchasing the things that I want. Exactly. They're actually doing what I'm asking them. Exactly. Well, this is what's supposed to happen. So any other guy that comes towards her, you need to have that same type at time.
That's how she's looking for everybody.
Yeah.
Because she'd already had other guys basically kind of feed that ego, feed into it. So now she's at a certain point where it's like, yo, I ain't going back. Like, this is what it is now.
People. I've seen videos where women specifically, because I have not seen a man do this, but I've seen a video where a woman is like, yo, live in your delusion. Like, I encourage you to be delusional because, like, it's your life. It's your best life. Like, you go, girl. And I'm like, bro, we can't. Your
best life. Ignorance is bliss. But what happens when? Listen, man. I feel like you only live in delusion for about so long.
You can't do it forever.
Something happens to where you have to kind of snap out of it and get back to reality.
Something got to give.
So it's like, and I have a feeling if you live in delusion and something happens so traumatic that it snaps you back to reality, I feel like it hurts so much more because it took such a big event to get you out of being delusional to now being kind of a little bit more level-headed and realizing what's actually happening in the world. Compared to if you just, it's kind of like what Jordan Peterson has said, pick your suffering. It hurts a little bit less when you get to choose your suffering than when the suffering is kind of chosen for you.
Yes.
So if you pick when you decide to go into reality and be like, listen, I'm not going to live in delusion anymore. This is not how I'm going to this is not how my mindset's going to be. I'm going to look at everything for how it is, and I'm going to live in reality. It hurts a little less.
True.
It hurts a little less.
I definitely say I have to agree with you, man. I've seen heard of stories as well. I even remember talking to a girl one time. I was at a bar. And she wanted me to buy her a drink. And I'm like, I don't even know you. Who are you?
Who are you?
Type shit. Like,
it's like, yo, I just met you.
Exactly. She's like,
now.
I remember her telling me like she deserves to be spoiled, and like if I'm not gonna spoil her, like I can't hang out. I walked away. I was like, who do you think you are? It's delusion.
It's like, what are we doing?
Exactly.
What are we doing?
It's just nonsensical, And unfortunately, a lot of people in 2023, past last year, and now in 2024. Delusional.
And I know we talked about women living in delusion. I think now more men are starting to.
Unfortunately, which I personally, I hold men to a higher standard because we're men. We're supposed to be the leaders of society. Yeah. But now it's unfortunate to say we're not.
We're not. Changed.
It's not the same, though. It's hard to say. It's hard to look at the average male in America and be like, yo, you're not delusional, because they do stupid things sometimes, and we're not being the men and the leaders that these women want us to be. So they're out here just doing whatever they feel like doing. Yeah. We're not putting them in their place.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, like, I do believe some of this is just our fault as men.
Yeah.
But I also don't think, a lot of this, I think, also comes from what's being pushed.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is men?
The media's out there, the big companies, what they kind of want. Also, this is a money-making thing, too. There's a reason why all the things are going the way they're going.
Exactly.
It makes money for them.
Exactly.
That's what they want.
It makes money for them. Money speaks, bro.
Yeah, money talks.
Money talks, bro. For real, man.